Oh, baby. What time is it? What time is it? Huh? It's NBA season time. We're back. It's here. I got to start making videos again. I know I said I was going to do stuff in the off season, and I didn't because I'm an idiot, and that's why I only have 37 subscribers. I can't wait to have sports betting advertisements shoved down my throat for the next 8 months, but whatever. Let's talk Heat, because I'm hyped up on caffeine right now, and I want to get this done so I can watch the. I'm going to watch the Nuggets beat the Lakers, and I'm going to watch the Warriors beat the Suns. Okay. That's happening. But I have hot takes. I have bold predictions that might age like wine. They might age like milk. I don't care, because the beauty of having only 37 subscribers or whatever I have, no one listens, and it's like I'm screaming into the woods, and it kind of gives me a freedom to come on here and be ridiculous. Okay, so my big Heat prediction is to take a page out of the book of the wise sage known as John Morant. The Heat are fine in the East. Don't buy into the propaganda that you're being fed just because we didn't get Damian Lillard that all of a sudden we're going to be terrible now. We're fine. Here's some predictions I have. Okay, just some quick ones. Heat will be fine in the East. Heat will make at least the Eastern Conference Finals. I kind of think that it's going to be the same thing as last year. I think it's going to be Heat versus Nuggets again. I am not intimidated by the Celtics. I'm not intimidated by these Bucks. I don't care. I don't care about them. In the regular season, they might have a better record than us. They might beat us. In a 7-game series, Heat all day. Heat all day. And I'm not being delusional. I'm telling you. Jamie Jaquez. You ready for this prediction? Jamie Jaquez is going to make an all-rookie first or second team. Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo are going to make the all-star team. Bam will win Defensive Player of the Year. And hey, you geniuses out there that decide who wins the Defensive Player of the Year, here's a little advice for you. Are you ready? Defense is more than just shot blocking highlights, okay? Depth. The Heat are deep. What? But dude, the narrative is that the Heat have no assets. The Heat didn't get Damian Lillard. The Miami Heat are deep. I'm telling you right now. I think we're better. I do. I think we're better. I don't think that losing, and I love Gabe and I love Max and I wish them the best, but I think with the addition of Jamie Jaquez or Jaime Jaquez, I prefer Jamie Jaquez. Thomas Bryant, I love. Josh Richardson, I love. That combined with the development and the development of everybody else. You have a Duncan Robinson 2.0. Hopefully he can take what he did in the playoffs and continue into this season. And Tyler and Bam just get better every season. I think you're going to have another big jump from them. I think they're going to be all-stars, or at least pretty close to it. And take a lot of the pressure off of Jimmy. Okay, so I got a list of the roster here on ESPN.com. I'm not a fan of ESPN, but at least ESPN does have Emo Jimmy in the picture here, so that's pretty cool. So this goes in alphabetical order. I'm just gonna give my little expert analysis on each player here. So it goes in alphabetical order. We got Bam first. Bam, kind of touched upon that already. I think Bam's going to be an all-star this year. I think Bam should win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think Bam is going to take on more of a leadership role this year. The word is that he's going to be a lot more vocal in the locker room, which I think is great. And I think he's definitely earned that now. He's been there a while. He's 26. He's going to be getting that big fancy Supermax contract next year. So it's his time to really kind of start to take the reins. He had an awesome preseason. That little jump shot that he does, that little chip shot, mid-range shot, is looking better than ever. I would still like to see him play some bully ball too. Thomas Bryant. I was thrilled when we acquired Thomas Bryant. I remember, I live in LA, so I'm always stuck watching Lakers games, and I was really impressed with Thomas Bryant last year. I remember there was a game, I think it was one of his best games last year. It was against Portland, I think he had like 37 points and 14 rebounds and like 4 3-pointers. Then AD came back and then he got shipped off to Denver and people kind of forgot about him. It's going to be interesting to see how they use him. Like, do you go big and start Bam and Thomas Bryant? Do you bring him in for Bam? I wonder how that's going to work. And he was also playing in the Rico Hines Summer League, where that's also the first time I ever saw Jamie Jaquez playing, was in the Rico Hines Summer League. If you've never seen the Rico Hines Summer League, go on YouTube, just type in Rico Hines and watch those videos, man. Like that's one of the best summer runs in the country. I think he's the assistant coach for the Sixers now, Rico Hines. Jimmy, we got Jimmy now. What do you say about Jimmy? Look, I think Jimmy is still that guy. He looks like he is in as good a shape now as he's ever been. I'm interested in seeing what his approach to the season is going to be. Is it going to be like how he usually does it? Kind of just, sitting back a little bit and being facilitative until the playoffs come around. Then he puts on the super cape, and every once in a while, he really kind of goes for it in certain big games and big moments, and sort of allow Tyler and Bam to really be the catalysts of the offense? Or is it going to be some kind of thing where Jimmy just decides to terrorize the league all season long? That would be cool too. Jimmy's going to be fine. Jimmy's going to be Jimmy. That's where I stand on Jimmy. Okay, next up you got Jamal Cain. I personally have been on the Cain train ever since last year. He had a good game sometime during the season, and he was being interviewed, and he was wearing a Goodfellas t-shirt, and I said, I like that kid. He has good taste in cinema, and I like his game. The thing is with Jamal Cain, once the regular season starts, it's kind of like, where do you fit him into the game-to-game rotation? And I think that's why they're keeping him on a two-way. They want him to keep developing and playing a lot in the G League, but also if they do need him, they can bring him up, and he has enough experience now to where they can throw him into a game and he'll be ready. I'm very high on Jamal Cain. I think that kid has a ton of potential. It seems like his shot's improved, his defense is amazing, his athleticism is nuts. I mean, that kid's really athletic. He's 6'6", he's only 24. RJ Hampton, kind of a wild card. I know he had that really good last game in the preseason, and he's on a two-way, I'm pretty sure. He's one of those guys that has like a ton of potential. And I think the story with him is, I think he had some offers from other teams, but he chose the two-way for the Miami Heat because he wanted to be in a program that would develop him. I think that's what happened, and that's cool that he has that much of a self-awareness about him, because I think the whole story was he was like the big high school prospect, and then he kind of went overseas. He took some like weird unorthodox route and kind of got derailed a little bit in his career. And I think that kid, who knows what his potential is. He's only 22. I like him. Tyler Hero, let's go. I think Tyler's going to bring his game to a whole nother notch this year. I think he's going to have a big breakout season. I'm a big fan of the headband. He has a chip on his shoulder in a good way. He wants to prove himself. He was hurt the last 2 playoffs. Probably the whole being used as like a trade fodder all the time probably motivates him a lot. I think he is going to be a big scorer this year for us. I think he's going to be big. I think he's a potential all-star. I'm very high on Tyler Hero this year. Every diehard Heat fan's favorite player, Haywood Highsmith, baby. I'm a big advocate of Haywood. I love Haywood Highsmith. Crazy good athlete, really good defender. Looks like he's been improving all the time. Looks like he's improved on his shot. I think he hurt his knee a little bit recently. That's a little concerning. I hope that doesn't turn into a pain, because you know how knee injuries are funny. In the Celtics series, I mean, every Heat fan was just wanting more Haywood Highsmith minutes, and every time he was in, he was super effective. He had a great preseason. I hope we see a lot more Haywood minutes this year. Jamie Jaquez. Jaime Jaquez. I like Jamie Jaquez. Arguably the coolest hair in the NBA, possibly related to Adam Driver. Kind of a funny story. So I remember coming across this kid the first time in the aforementioned Rico Hines summer runs. This was like summer of 22. And he was going head to head against Russell Westbrook in this league. And I was like, who is this kid? I was really impressed. And I was like, oh, he's a UCLA player, cool. And then I kind of forgot about him. I just thought he was some like random really good player for UCLA, and he was going into his senior year. And then fast forward a few months later, and it's like, sometime in the tournament, I'm kind of paying attention to it. And I'm like, oh, there's that kid playing in the tournament. Good for him. And he was all whatever that conference, Pac-12 Player of the Year. I think he was first, second team All-American. And I was like, oh, good for him. I wonder if he'll play in the NBA. Then I kind of forgot about him again. Fast forward to draft night. All of a sudden, it's the Heat's pick, and the Miami Heat select Jaime Jaquez. I'm like, Jaime Jaquez, that name sounds familiar. And the camera cuts to him, and it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme thing. You know what I'm talking about? He's like that. I'm like, oh my God, that's that kid. That's that guy that I've been like randomly keep coming across, and I'm like always impressed by him. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna be on the Heat. That's amazing. I'll always remember this about that night, because I was tuning into certain Miami Heat podcasts who shall remain nameless. And they were all up in arms about how we didn't get Cam Whitmore. And Cam Whitmore seems like he has a lot of potential, but I just don't see Cam Whitmore on the Heat. He seems to fit very perfectly on the Rockets. Jaime Jaquez seems like a Heat kind of player, and I like that he's 22. I like that he's 4 years of college basketball under his belt. I like that he's 6'6", 225. The little bit that we've seen of him so far, I've been very impressed. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year. Nikola Jovic. I gotta be honest, I'm not down on Nikola Jovic. And I know he had kind of a not that impressive preseason. He was pretty solid during FIBA. What I always go back to on him is that he's only 20 years old. He's a kid. I mean, the kid's not even legal to drink yet. He's got a whole lot of time to develop. This could be his year. You might see him utilized this year, or you might not. You might see him get a little more minutes than last year. It might be the same, or he might have a big breakout year. That I don't know. I think he's kind of another like wild card sort of guy on the team right now. But his potential is like ridiculous. I mean, the kid's 6'10", 205. He put on a bunch of weight. He looks great. I think he just needs to get more experienced and mature and grow and all that kind of stuff. But I like him. I'm a fan. I'm a Jovic fan for sure. Okay, next you got Kevin Love. First of all, I didn't know Kevin Love was 251 pounds. Man, that's a big reason why he's starting, because he's a big dude that works along Bam. He can get in there. He can get rebounds. He stretches the floor. He has his world famous outlet passes. The question with Kevin Love is, how much more mileage can you get out of Kevin Love? And, we'll see. I mean, he had big, really important moments for us in the postseason. I'm sorry about the garbage truck. A lot of people, not that they're down on Kevin Love, but they might be doubting him a little bit right now because, his preseason wasn't that great, but he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody in preseason. There's certain players on the Heat where a lot of people are thinking, would they be better starting in place of Kevin Love, like a Haywood Highsmith? The good thing about Kevin Love is that there's definitely no ego there. There's no agenda or no ego with that guy. If he knows that he shouldn't be in that starting position anymore, I don't think there's, it's going to be a smooth transition. Kyle Lowry, baby. I am a pro Kyle guy. I know a lot of Heat fans he is very unliked by a lot of Heat fans. I kind of understand why, but look, man, Kyle's one of those guys that you want to have. He's good to have in the trenches with you when you got, bullets and shrapnel whizzing over your head. Kyle's a guy that you want to have in the trenches with you. It's going to be interesting how the Heat utilize him this year. Does he start and close? Does he start and then, work with the second unit? Does he just work with the second unit? Who's going to fill in for him when he's not playing as far as the point guard position goes? I'm not concerned about that. You know that the league these days has a lot of positionless basketball, and we have a few guys on this roster that are good enough ball handlers, good enough in the backcourt to where they can play point guard. He looked great this preseason. Everybody was pretty happy with him this preseason, and he looked great. He looked like he lost some weight. He looked like he was in really good shape. So it's going to be just interesting to see how they utilize Kyle this season. All right, Caleb. I love Caleb, one of my favorite players on the team. I think he's one of the more important players on the team from a basketball perspective. I think Caleb, he's going to bring his game to another level this year. This is why I'm not concerned that we didn't get Damian Lillard. If we would have gotten Damian Lillard, it would have been at the expense of losing Tyler, of potentially losing Caleb, of potentially losing a Haywood or a Jaquez or a Jovic. I like having all these role players that add depth to this team. Is Caleb going to start? Is Caleb going to come off the bench? Whatever. Josh Richardson. I gotta be honest. I'm not that familiar with Josh Richardson's game. I wasn't paying attention to the NBA or the Heat when he was on the team. I went back and watched some highlights of his, and it was pretty impressive. He didn't really play much this preseason. I think he got hurt. My only conclusion with him is, could he be to us what like a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is for the Nuggets? They're a very similar height, very similar weight, very similar body type. I know he's listed as a shooting guard, but can he just be that good 30-year-old kind of vet guy that just is reliable and can just come in and hold it down and do his job? You need guys like that just anchor an offense that are reliable and experienced. And I think hopefully Josh can be that guy. Duncan. I hope we have a Duncan Robinson 2.0. I hope Duncan can just continue the versatility that he added to his game in the postseason last year, with the cutting, with the back doors, with the passing, with taking guys off the dribble, the pick and rolls with Bam, all that stuff, instead of just being a three-point shooter. I hope he gets a lot more minutes this year. I'm not worried that his preseason was so-so, shooting wasn't that great. That's fine, that'll come. Watching him in the preseason is that it seemed like he was still doing that stuff, that this newfound versatility that he has, which I guess in all that time he wasn't playing on the Heat, it seems like they really had him working on his game and developing his versatility. I'm really excited to see what Duncan Robinson does this season. Orlando Robinson, man, that's a guy that I really want to have. I really want him to break out. I mean, he was one of the best players, period, in the summer league. I mean, definitely, like if there was a summer league all-star game, he definitely would have been on the team, maybe even a starter. I mean, he was really dominant. Definitely the best player on the Heat. And then his preseason was meh. I think he just needs to play. They did sign him to a contract. I guess he kind of like fills in behind Thomas Bryant. If one of those guys are hurt, or if somebody's in foul trouble, he's a guy you can put in there. I think he just needs to, you just gotta throw him in there and get him experienced. He has a ton of potential. He's another one of those wild card kind of guys. Drew Smith, now we're getting down, we have Drew Smith and Cole Swider. I mean, Drew Smith, a lot of people are hating on him. He's the kind of guy you're not going to see him play a ton of minutes. I don't think. But when it comes to a guy like him, look, the Heat believe in him for a reason. They see a lot of potential in him. He seems to be a really good defender. He needs to work on a lot of stuff like finishing, some turnovers. He's one of those guys where it's like, I trust in the Heat. We're making those decisions. They believe in him. They see potential in him. I don't really have that much of an opinion on Drew Smith. He seems fine, I guess. Cole Swider's really interesting. Man, that kid can shoot. Oh my God, that kid can shoot. A little one-dimensional. Hopefully they're kind of developing the versatility with him that they've been doing with Duncan Robinson. Another guy you might not see it like a ton of minutes from him. kind of is in that same category as Drew Smith. You know, it's kind of too early to tell what he's going to bring to the table, if anything. But, you know, I definitely like him. You know, he had that big 17-point fourth quarter. That was really impressive. And the kid can shoot. I don't know, that's kind of my take on Cole Swider, is that, man, that kid can shoot. And he's 6'8". You know, 6'8" with a really pure jump shot. That's a big threat. Okay, that's it. I'm done rambling. This video is way too long. In conclusion, Heat are finding the East. Heat are deeper than people think, and the Heat are going to be better than people think. Despite this, you know, the sky is falling because we didn't get Damian Lillard. Big whoop. We're fine. Heat are fine. Go Heat. Let's go.